It takes more than grit for today's farmers to drive tractors, till soil, and harvest crops. They need reliable Wi-Fi connection, and about 30% of farmland in the U.S. lacks that sufficient connectivity. That's where Elon Musk's SpaceX company and Starlink come in.
Go Starlink.
In January 2024, SpaceX and its Starlink satellites hitched their proverbial wagon to John Deere, the world's biggest manufacturer of farm machinery. Starlink satellite communications, also known as SATCOM, will provide internet connectivity where Wi-Fi isn't currently available for Deere machines. And this could mean big bucks for both companies. Bob Tita covers Deere for the Wall Street Journal and says a reliable internet connection means improving efficiency and productivity for farmers.
You're planting seeds in the most efficient way. You're spraying fertilizers and chemicals and other things like that in an efficient way. That improves the farmer's yields, and it also saves them money.
Here's how it works. John Deere dealers install a Starlink terminal on machines, along with a 4G LTE JD-Link modem, to connect to the John Deere Operations Center. The technology will reportedly be available later this year, and Deere has yet to disclose pricing. While we don't know yet what SpaceX is charging Deere to use its satellites, its land mobility plan for businesses such as emergency services, construction, and trains starts at $250 a month on top of equipment costs. Starlink boasts the world's largest satellite fleet with more than 5,000 devices in orbit. The company provides high-speed internet to over 2 million people across 70 countries, including war-torn areas in Ukraine. And it's no surprise Musk is ready to get his hands dirty and plant roots in agriculture tech, according to Tom Beresnuk, an educator at the Penn State College of Agricultural Sciences.
He's like a real Iron Man. He's Tony Stark. I don't know if it just drives him that he wants to do things that people tell him no, and I think he just loves a challenge.
Adequate Wi-Fi enables Deere customers to utilize digital farming technology. For example, there's software for herbicide sprayers to differentiate between weeds and crops. Other digital farming programs allow farmers to troubleshoot equipment issues right from the field instead of a repair shop. In some cases, it's just about improving communication over vast acres of farmland.
Particularly on a big farm where you have a lot of pieces of equipment operating at the same time. If they're connected to each other, the people in the cabs of those machines know where the other guy is. They can communicate with each other, display terminals in the equipment, show what kind of work they've done, how much they've harvested, for example, and how much more they have to go.
The technology will also provide real-time information on crops, which could even improve food safety.
Let's say that there was an E. coli breakout in this section of your lettuce. That's a big issue for restaurants that are trying to figure out, okay, do we have to shut down everything or just this one store that had a bad batch of something?
Additionally, the service's consistent Wi-Fi speed will advance the development of autonomous vehicles used for farming.
These are low Earth orbit, which gives them a low latency connection. When you get a low latency connection, you can control autonomous vehicles very precisely. You're not going to have any interruptions, which you can't have with a setup like that.
About 60% of the high horsepower tractors operated in the US and Canada are Deere machines. The manufacturer is reportedly hoping to see 10% of its annual revenue from software service fees by 2030.
To add customer base and continuous revenue, that this is a huge win for Starlink. And I think it's a huge win if Deere is looking to increase the amount of revenue it gets from software.
And that's not limited to the US. Brazil is one of the world's predominant producers of soybeans, sugarcane, fruit, and other goods. Yet more than 70% of the acres of farmland there have inadequate connectivity, according to the Wall Street Journal.
Brazil is an ag powerhouse. They have been for decades now. Their advances in research in ag are some of the best in the world. So it's probably even more important down in Brazil.
Agriculture has always been at the forefront of technology, from horse-drawn tractors to today's equipment, says Beresnuk. And Deere and Starlink's partnership feels organic.
If you've seen a modern machine, a combine from John Deere, you're probably looking at $250,000 to $500,000 or more. These are huge machines. I don't know if you've ever been up in the cab. They're like 2 stories. They're so high. It looks like a space shuttle inside. They're very advanced currently, and that's only going to continue. So I would argue that this is a natural progression for Deere.
But how much more will Elon Musk saddle up to the farming world?
Is Tesla going to make tractors next?
Unlikely. Unlikely.
For Investors Business Daily, I'm Meredith Heyman.